Stock Nation.
Well, I was destroyed, beaten down. My demons came, they dragged me down. Fire burned all around. My own screams, the only sounds. Hellfire burned my soul away. The devil left, my skin was flayed. He knew not what I was worth. Fires of hell brought my rebirth. So I explode in a fit of light. Towards the sun I burst into flight. Now watch me fly on wings of fire. Watch the flames lift me higher. Ashes to ashes, to my surprise, I am the phoenix, watch me rise. Purge by fire, cleanse the sin. Watch me now, I'll fly again. Yeah, now there's no disguising. See me soar, I am the phoenix rising. And now I can't even see what I used to be. I'm flying free from the past. Yes, I'm free, free at last. So watch me fly on wings of fire. Watch the flames lift me higher. Ashes to ashes, to my surprise, I am the phoenix, watch me rise. Yeah, watch me fly on wings of fire. Watch the flames lift me higher. Ashes to ashes, to my surprise, I am the phoenix, watch me rise. Yeah, I am the phoenix, watch me rise. Said I'm the phoenix, watch me rise.
Welcome to the Roundtable, everyone, where heroes talk. Of course, tonight we welcome Jack Blaise, who is a multi-service veteran and a retired firefighter and paramedic. Matthew Jones, hello, Matt. It's good to see you. I know we kind of took a couple weeks off here for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. I mean, I ate entirely way too much. I think I probably ate myself into a coma maybe 2 or 3 times. Gained a little weight, but we're back in the saddle again. You know, we're working that weight off. We're moving, we're grooving, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to get to talk to Jack today.
Yeah, that's the thing to do. And you know what? It's funny, Jack, thank you for making a little bit of time for Hero Stock Nation. Welcome back. How are you?
Thank you. I'm wonderful. It is great to be here. Good to talk to you and Matt again. My origin story, you know, every villain has an origin story, so I'm claiming one too. So I, joined the army pretty much shortly out of high school. Did a few years there, got out, missed it because, why not? Went back in and joined the Marine Corps, and was not in the Marine Corps for very long, and ended up right back out and bounced around for a while, and then got into the Houston Fire Department in 2004, and did 10 years in the fire department, and then ended up as trained as a paramedic. So 99% of my time was on EMS, which, I mean, honestly, that's most firemen these days anyway, but especially as a medic, I was on the ambulance pretty much every day.
Yeah.
Uh, and you know, I um, then one day I was getting ready to play a hockey game. Uh, and one thing I have to interject here that I'm particularly proud of at the time was that a friend of mine and we got the Houston Fire Department hockey team back up and running while we were
Mm.
while I was there. And that was cool. So we started playing games for charity and stuff, and that was a lot of fun. And I didn't have a hockey background. I didn't start playing hockey until I was like 35 years old, and
Oh,
it was
wow.
kind of crazy. Yeah, yeah. I've been being a Texas kid from Houston and all that, and that was a whole different thing. But anyway, that's off topic. But the point of how this relates to what I was saying is that I was on the ice getting ready to play hockey one night,
Mm.
and when I stood up, I still really can't explain it, but it felt like somebody hit me in the back of the head with an axe. I mean, I was perfectly fine 1 second, stood up and everything just kind of went brown real quick. And, uh, you know, from that moment until in 2020, I had, this is in 2013 is when this happened. I had a 10 out of 10, headache that I could not explain. Nobody could explain it. Nothing made it particularly better. Um, you know, Staying in bed and not moving was really kind of my only reprieve, and it still was, that was 100% survival mode.
Mhm.
And one thing that I realized though, when I retired, they gave me a little severance check in cash, and I went and bought a guitar. And I hadn't had a guitar since I played guitar and stuff when I was like 14 and in school. But when I joined the army, honestly, I kind of just, man, left it all back, and didn't really play music at all until, about 2014 when I retired from the fire department.
Mhm.
Um, but I found that playing guitar and the singing would actually, like, for some reason resonate in my head in a way that gave me relief. And so I spent pretty much, if I was awake, I had a guitar in my hand and I was playing and singing, just for pure sanity purposes.
Music it does have its healing qualities and such.
Absolutely. And that's, in just to kind of fast forward a bit. So they ran all kinds of tests. Basically, I ended up with a script for Vicodin and a have a nice life kind of.
Was that was that the
And
VA?
this was not with the VA. This was actually out in private insurance that I had from the fire department. Um, yeah. So as much as everybody complains about the VA, I'm with the VA now. But this was private gold star supposedly healthcare that I had, and
Mm.
they basically said, sorry, we have no idea what it is, and you're taking up space. So
But let me just go back to you being a paramedic and then
uh,
finding yourself in the situation where it's like, this is the best you can do, medical community, for me. This is the best you can
yeah.
do. Can you talk about that?
Um, well, I have to say that is that's something I struggle with to this day is just the complete lack of um give it about with the medical community, and I am 100% will tell you that I was completely guilty of it myself. That, you end up with, it's a job. And, if you're a mechanic and somebody brings you a car, you don't get emotionally attached to the car. And as a medical provider, you have to have that same kind of, like, it's a job, order number, blah, 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 needs, blah, 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 and you put it out the door and you deal with it that way. Um, and that ends up with a very kind of, go down the checkbox flowchart kind of care.
Mm.
And that doesn't, it's fine in some applications, and it kind of covers the boxes in some applications, but and if there's anything that deviates from the norm, it's the system doesn't deal with it well at all.
Are you seeing that that's something that has changed over time to something like that? I mean, I know that it used to be seen the medical profession as being something honorable, and it will always be about providing service to the patient in a way that is, you know, empathetic. And it's changed for sure. Is it about something different now?
No, I really, um, to kind of take another left turn, I kind of look at it as the same kind of thing as police officers.
Mhm.
Pe People get into, or firefighters, you get into these fields with the best of intentions. You want to make a difference for your fellow man. You want to be that person that's there to help, when it's needed. And um, the system, though, just kind of doesn't allow for that. And it kind of really beats you down. And I really think that that's kind of, people get into things for the best reasons. And once they find out the reality of it, you kind of end up, and then so it becomes, okay, well, do I stay here and continue to perpetuate this horrible system, but, but continue to help people, or do I just say, screw it and pull the ripcord and get out, and then, the quality of care that everybody else will receive goes down a little bit because I've given up and moved out. And it's wow, we got me going down the rabbit hole here.
Well,
These are things that, yeah,
that's what we
these are
do here
things
at the
I haven't
Roundtable.
talked about really much at all to anybody,
I,
but
I
yeah,
I think it's worth
that's
saying that when you receive a certain kind of care, that kind of shakes, kind of your core belief in what doctors or nurses or whoever it is, when it kind of shakes your belief in what they're supposed to do, it's really kind of toxifying to your own mental health, which, causes issues with stress, anxiety, sleeplessness, fatigue, and I know there's doctors out there that will kind of say, certain therapies and whatnot are kind of sham therapies because they only alleviate those particular things, stress, anxiety. Well, those are big things, and so I can only imagine that, not getting the quality medical care that you were hoping to get really kind of shakes that narrative in your head and makes you kind of, wonder, well, I'm not just making this up, or am I making this up? Like, why won't anybody believe me? And why can't they figure out what it is? Really
yeah.
kind of shakes you to your core mentally.
Well, and I have to say though that I just want to be perfectly clear here that my faith in the medical professionals around me had gone and completely into the toilet long before I became the patient side.
Mhm.
I mean, just like I said, and I don't blame anybody personally. I think, like I said, I think everybody gets into it for all the most righteous reasons, and it just the system is a whole different reality, and you get I mean, some people just get completely burnt out to where, it, they don't even listen to your name. They don't listen, they have their mind made up before they even ask. It's like, oh, and again, I will completely admit that I was guilty of that myself when I was a provider. You show up and, oh, this house is in this neighborhood, and there's these kind of people here, and that, here it is 4 a.m. and there's kids running around, so I know exactly before I even walk into the room, I know what's going on in my head, supposedly.
Yeah.
Now,
You
you were a firefighter slash paramedic. I think you mentioned it being a 10-year career.
Correct.
When
Mhm.
you started, is when you really started as a firefighter, and you may have had your opinions about things, just like how you shared now, on certain circumstances or situations. Did that change over time as you put in
Absolutely.
tenure?
When
And if
I
so, yeah, what were some of the things that you observed that changed in you?
Yeah, so when I first started with the fire service, I'll be completely honest. You're not ever supposed to admit this, by the way, but I needed a job, and And I got into the fire service because I needed a job that had good benefits that I could do. And I didn't have any particularly, valuable skills. Um, so getting into the fire department was really and truly about a secure life for my child, 100%. But once I got in and got into EMT school and those things, which was a requirement. The way it worked in Houston at the time was you applied and they actually hired you and then paid for all your training. Um, and so at the fire academy, uh, everyone was required to go to EMT school. And then my class in particular, we were all required to go to paramedic school also after that.
Mm.
Um, and after EMT school, I thought that this was just the greatest job since sliced bread. I mean, my world was on fire. I thought it was great. I couldn't wait to save everybody. Um, and actually started making plans to try to go to medical school. Uh, Started taking college classes outside of that and stuff. And but over the years, pretty soon after paramedic school, actually, just the constant, um, just the way the system is so, um, first off, you go into these things thinking that you're going to be, oh well, if I make 20 calls a day, surely at least one of those will be something where I've made a difference in somebody's life. I've saved a life, so to speak. I've used my skills. I've done all the things that I'm supposed to be doing.
Hmm.
And it doesn't take very long to realize that is an optimistic number to think that 1 out of 20 is an actual emergency. And, you know, it really starts to wear on you when you're showing up at 3 or 4 in the morning, at the end of a 24-hour shift or being held, into mandatory overtime and just the way it just, you become a cog. It doesn't, nobody cares what your opinion is. Okay, you went to school for 2 years, Mr. Paramedic. That's great and all, but you're not a doctor, so put the person in the ambulance, give them a Band-Aid for their stub toe and take them to the hospital and, perpetuate clogging the system because that's what you're supposed to do. And it takes all that fire. It took all that fire right out of me pretty quick of saving the world.
Did you see that happen more frequently than those who would say, "Thank you. I appreciate what you've done."
Um, I have to say that those that do say thank you and appreciate it,
Mhm.
first off, those are not the ones calling at 3 a.m. because they have a stub toe. Those are the ones who are calling for. Those are the ones that you got into the job for. Those are the ones that you hope and pray that you make. And it's not a matter of fact that they're going to thank you for it. It's the fact that when they call, that it's something that they needed help with. Even if, it's not like, even if it's just an old person who lives by themselves who needs to get picked up, off the ground because they fell. Those are things that I'm not talking about those kinds of calls. Those things are wonderful because you're helping somebody, you're making a difference in their life. Um, it's the just blatant abuse of the system where and
Mhm.
you see, yes, to answer your question bluntly, yes, you see that way more than you see the people who appreciate it. Um, but I hate to even say that because it's just, because you don't do the job to be appreciated. I mean, that's not the point. The point is not to be, a hero ain't nothing but a sandwich, as they used to say. You're not there for appreciation. You're not there for accolades or anything. But just decent humanity back across the room. And the thing is, one thing that I've learned once now that I've had a little separation from it is I used to be mad at, the people, the poor people that call me at 3 a.m. because they need, compound W for their wart on their butt or whatever. And it would make me so mad. It's like, how can you not understand that this is not okay? But the fact is that they don't understand that it's not okay because that's all they've ever known. That is the system that we've shoved these people in also. And it gets, you know, they don't know any better. I can't tell them any better.
Mhm.
It's, and the whole system again just keeps rolling and rolls over anything that doesn't. Yeah, wow, y'all got me going down all kinds of rabbit holes.
You're good.
Hey man, it's your
Yeah.
story. And
Uh,
yeah, we appreciate you letting us give us some insight on all of this. I mean, we do Hero Stock has a number of first responders that we've been wanting to hear stories from, and your stories help us, maybe draw others to our program as well too. So when it comes to looking back to what it is that you've done as a paramedic itself, were there things that stood out as, things that are like, I've done my work here, or is there still stuff that you wanted to accomplish as a paramedic? Um, how did you leave things?
oof. Um, well, I have to say that I have zero interest at all in being involved with the medical field ever again. Um, that's when things went south for me physically, I was already making plans to get out of at least EMS and possibly the whole fire department, but at least EMS. I could not. I was getting to the point to where I needed to find something else to do,
Mhm.
and not just for me, for everybody involved. I had gotten to the point where I was so burnout, I wasn't helping anybody,
Mhm.
and and I got to be quite honest. These are the thoughts, and these are the issues that I've had. When you spend the better part of a decade laying in bed and think about, um, you know, the part you played in putting yourself there, and what could I possibly have done wrong to be punished? All these kinds of thoughts, right, that come into your head. And so every call that I ever made that I was too short with that person, or didn't do as well as I thought I should have done in hindsight now. Those are the things that still keep me up at night, quite frankly. Those are the things that I deal with as far as this whole issue has become very, it started off as a pain issue for me. Um, but you don't spend that kind of time in that kind of pain without your brain tweaking a little bit,
Yeah.
and and it wasn't exactly the most stable structure to begin with, let's just say.
Right.
Um, so it gets a little dicey at times, and that is a big part of why even because we never actually got to the portion in the story that said so. I moved to Colorado in 2018, and I met a dentist by complete random chance who realized that a big part of my issue was that my jaw was completely locked on the left side. And
Locked into place physically? Is that
she, yeah,
been
so it was really funny because I have like old video of me singing and stuff while I'm singing to make myself feel better, and this side of my face doesn't even move. Everything
Oh,
is on this
wow.
side moving. Yeah, and I could hardly open my mouth, and it never even occurred to me that never occurred to any of the doctors, the specialists, and any of these people. My dentist at the time, previous dentist,
Mhm.
no, but turns out she was one of the foremost TMJ specialists in the country, and so got my bite reconstructed, and now my headaches are immensely better, which is why I'm able to do things like get on podcasts and go play shows and do these kinds of things. And um, so that was a big thing. And so now, even though physically my pain issue is considerably better, I still have a lot of mental health issues that have come from, spending that time just down, I
Yeah.
guess is a good
Yeah.
way to put it.
I understand, man. There's no way you can go through those conditions and be in that pain for so long and not come out squeaky clean on the other side, you know? And but the good thing about this is that you know these things. That you can see these things, and if we can see it, then we can help ourselves. We can. I was speaking with a buddy, and he said a lot of the things that we do to try to make ourselves better, like it's an inside job, you know, and it requires that
Yeah.
action from us. And understanding and knowing what it is that you struggle with, and knowing where to go, that's half the battle. The other half is, coming to terms and really working through those things. Um, Man, I can't imagine. I can't imagine, but I really can't.
Yeah, the self-awareness is I got to be honest, probably the thing I am the most proud of. And don't get me wrong, I have a million miles to go yet in my healing journey, but just to realize that I needed a healing journey and to
Yeah.
actually have actively put myself on one, I have to say I'm proud of myself for that, which is a hard thing for me to say actually,
What it wasn't
but
it
yeah,
I think it was Russell Crowe that said the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, you know?
Russell.
I think it was Russell Crowe
I
before
think that
the
predates
filming
Russell
of the
Crowe by a little
Gladiator.
bit, but yeah,
I
yeah.
could
Yeah,
swear I
well,
saw that on
but
Star
still,
Trek, but
it applies. You
I'm
know?
with you. I'm with you. And actually, if you don't mind, I'd like to play a song about my some of that time
please
Yeah,
do, Jack.
absolutely.
Go for
for
it.
that. So, like I said, as you get down into those kinds of areas and you start finding yourself asking questions about how am I going to deal with this and how do I go on and those kinds of things. And really all you want is a way to make the pain go away. Um, and the ways to go about doing that, become anyway. So this is my song and this is called Living a Lie. Well, I smoke my mind to get me through the day. Well, I wish to God I could find another way. Well, I tell a lie to get me through the night. Yeah, I tell myself tomorrow is gonna be alright. There's things we say, there's games we play. We all got our ways of getting by. Yeah, life, it ain't fair. We all got a cross to bear. And sometimes it helps to live a lie. Well, here I am, I got my head up in the clouds. I'm so high up, there's no one around. And it's the most peaceful place I've ever found. And I ain't ever coming down. Yeah, there's things we say, there's games we play. We all got our ways of getting by. 'Cause life, it ain't fair. We all got a cross to bear. And sometimes it helps to live a lie. So put on some rose-colored glasses, or bury your head down in the sand. No matter what it takes, you gotta find a way to keep the strength to stand. You gotta keep the strength to stand. So there's things we say, there's games we play. We all got our ways of getting by, 'cause life, it ain't fair. We all got a cross to bear, and sometimes it helps to live a lie. Yeah, sometimes it helps living a lie. So I tell a lie to get me through the night.
All right, Jack. Sounding good, man.
I love that.
Let me ask you about
Thank
the
you.
process of songwriting itself with this particular tune.
Mm-hmm.
When the idea comes to you, what next?
Ooh, yeah. That's always uh the fun part, right? So I like to, well, normally what happens, and what happened with that song was I came up with like the first two verses that just kind of rolled out and kind of rhymed. And I was like, oh, okay, I kind of like the idea of the things that I'm talking about. I honestly have no idea what they were at the time because I can tell you I've changed them probably 100 times since then. Um, but so again, capture that initial burst of creativity, whatever that is, as much as you can. And honestly, try to flesh that out as much as you can before you lose that spark, because that spark will fade, you know.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. Now, are you saying committing it to paper, or do you pick up your voice recorder? What are
Me
the
personally,
tools that
I
you're
usually
using?
pick up my laptop and start a Word document, to be completely honest.
That
So
works.
I start a Word document, type whatever I can in there, and then just kind of let it put it off to the side once that spark has faded.
Hmm.
Um, and then, don't let it sit too long though. Maybe the next day at the latest, pull it back out and try to say, okay, now where is this going? Was there a melody when I started? Can I still find a melody there? To me, I'm almost always a lyrics first person, and if my biggest struggle is finding melodies actually. So I really try to hold on to a melody if it comes to me at first, and so that's really when the voice recorder comes in more than anything. If I happen to be lucky enough to have a melody that comes through at the same time, I will also do a voice recording.
So let me ask you
Um,
this then.
uh-huh,
We're going to go down another rabbit hole.
uh-huh.
Do you typically share your writings, whether it's lyrics or melodies, with someone else who can either say, "Hey, I
I
got an idea," or is this something you like to do on your own?
um I have 99% of the time I do it on my own. I have to say though, I really enjoy, like, I've been to a few like songwriting retreats and things like that, and I really do enjoy the process of co-writing. Um, I'm really terrible at it though, but I really enjoy it, and I highly encourage anybody that wants to learn to write better songs to get in the room with anybody, even if it's, somebody who you think, oh, there's no way they're going to be able to write a song with me. Still, who knows what that person can teach you, so I highly, highly, if nothing else, one thing I have found is that I do like to do is once it's kind of finished, or I think it's finished, is that's when you have to show it to somebody else, because so many times I have written a song and I'm like, this is the most obvious message in the world. And you play it and somebody's like, what are you talking about? And I'm
Yeah.
like, what do you mean? You didn't get that? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a huge part of it. And that's the best thing about co-writing is that tends to happen less because you have that other perspective right away going, what do you mean you went out to the tower? What tower? What are you talking about? Just can instantly give you that feedback of, yeah, you're in your own world. You have to let us in, buddy. Um,
It's good that you do get a second perspective, but the timing has to be right. The situation has to be right because there are times where it's kind of like, this is just too personal, or maybe it's not really intended for a bunch of people to hear. It's really just for me or someone else. But would you find that to be a true statement that it really is, it really depends on the song that you're writing?
Absolutely. Well, I will say no, it doesn't necessarily depend on the song itself. It depends on what you want out of the song. Because just like you just said, am I trying to write a song that's going to tell a story to somebody else? Or am I writing a story just to get some crap out of me and out of my chest?
Mhm.
And this is something I'm not ever gonna play for anybody, you know, because that song certainly doesn't need to be edited, doesn't need to be, hey, are you understanding this? Does this make sense to you? No, because it's all your own things. But if you are really trying to, and like that song that I just played, that started initially as this is a song that I'm writing just to get crap out of myself. I cannot, you know, this I need to get this out. And then it became, you know, okay, I am going to be very vulnerable with this other person, and so I'm going to let them hear it. And I let them hear it, and they're like, no, you have to, that is something that other people can get something from. You need to let them hear it. And so that transitioned it from this is just something that I'm throwing out there. And while I was, making it coherent for myself to tell the story, which, once I decided to transition it to this is a song that needs to communicate to people, that was when I bounced it off people. I wrote a, third verse, or, the things that I wouldn't have done if I was just going to leave it just for me, and there are
Now,
songs that I have that are just for me, but that's not one of them anymore.
now,
So
have
no.
you ever found yourself in a position where like you have a song, I mean, like you just said it's for you, and then you decide you're going to be vulnerable, and then once you send it out to somebody, you do like this stress-induced little pace until you get a response back from them, like, oh God, what are they going to say? What are they going to say?
Um,
I say that because I
yes.
do it all the time.
I have to say it. Normally, um, I have to say, yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna go with yes
Yeah.
because that there are some where I'm like, oh, that no, they're not gonna like that one. That's too much. That's too personal. That's um too dark, too whatever. And
Songwriter's
or
prerogative,
yeah.
Yeah.
You send one off to somebody and they go, "Are you okay?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Just tell me what you think."
Hmm.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely been there.
So Jack, I know we had mentioned some of the volunteer work that you're also doing with nonprofit organizations when it comes to music and all. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Although I've been kind of out of the game for a bit, other than honestly your podcast from the previous and now. Um,
Thank you.
about the time I met my dentist, I'm sure was arguing politics on Facebook or something. He somehow got this blurb. It may have been an email. Anyway, but it was three questions. It says, are you a veteran? Do you play music? Would you like to meet Vince Gill? And I was like, yes, hell yes. And are you freaking kidding me? Of course.
Yeah.
And, it was this group called Soldier Songs and Voices. And what they do is they bring veterans down to a place in Texas, Hallettsville, Texas. There's a ranch, and they have a retreat, and they take veterans and pair them up with professional songwriters and help them
Wow.
tell their own story. Yeah, well, this happened to be the first year of COVID though when this hit.
Oh man.
So we did it all just like this now. And so
Oh,
I have met Vince Gill over Zoom.
wow.
Which
Okay.
That's not nothing.
it's
That's
not
not
it's not
nothing.
nothing, but it's not quite the same. But yeah, so that was really cool. I got to ask him a
Mm.
question and have it was super cool. But
Was it one on one or was it with a group of people with Vince
it was
Gill?
with a group. It was with a group with
Okay.
Vince Gill. And but then since then I've went to several retreats in person and have met others. Butch Hancock from the Flatlanders is a big influence with them. George Inslee, I don't know if you know who he was. He was one of the Musketeers that hung around with Towns and Guy Clark and back in the day.
Nice.
Um, Steve Earle did one with us, and it was really, anyway.
Come
Um,
on. Now I'm getting jealous.
yeah, but it was just
Sign
so
him up.
freaking cool, so cool. And the biggest thing though, honest and truly, is even meeting the celebrities is all great and everything, but the meeting the other veterans is really the biggest thing. And I started definitely as a participant and was teach me and it was just such a cool experience.
And how
Uh,
long were you doing that for? Was this like over a certain set of time, years, months?
Oh, it was several years, and I
Mm.
actually got involved and uh, co-founded, I guess, the Denver chapter of Soldier Songs and Voices because I was living in
Oh,
Denver at the time, and yeah, and but then I had my my mother had a stroke, and that was I ended up kind of jumping ship from Denver and coming down here to College Station, Texas, to take care of family.
it's about the
And
time I spoke with you last.
right.
You
And
got
so now
some.
I'm trying to get the hell out of Texas because she has made a huge recovery. She is doing wonderfully. I could not
Yes.
That's
ask for more.
great.
And and that talking about the medical profession and all that, and that's that was a whole other nightmare of trying to navigate with her, and it happened out of town, and oh my God, and it just but at the same time, if she had had that happen when I was a medic, and the technology just wasn't there that saved her, you know, 7 years later, 8 years later, however long it was.
Mhm.
Um, anyway, however long it was. Yeah, so it's just so amazing to, on one hand, you just look at all the shit that just falls through the cracks and ends up just, God, the whole world sucks. And then you flip over on the other side and it's the same system, but it's, I have my mother because of it. And so
Yeah.
it's a dichotomy, right? I mean, it's one of those things you have to look at and realize that that's life, The the same rain that makes your food grow will drown you. So
Yep.
So your work with with soldiers, songs, and voices, is
yes.
it? Oh,
Mhm,
okay.
mhm.
I mean, I know that they are an organization like yourself. You said you started in Denver, but I know they're all over the place right now. What did you notice when you first started with them and the veterans that you were getting to know? And then maybe, more recently, what are some of the things that you've observed being a part of that organization?
Um, well, a few things. One thing that I noticed was um, I kind of briefly touched on it, but I did 3 years in the Army, which was my full enlistment. Um, but then I only was in the Marine Corps basically through the end of SOI, and I got out of the Marine Corps without ever actually going to a unit or anything. So I um, carried kind of a lot of like I don't belong here with guys who are combat veterans and 10 deployments and, all these crazy kinds of things, missing limbs and, all the guys that have, it's really easy to sit around as somebody who never deployed and go, I do not deserve to be sitting here with these guys. But at the same time, I never, ever, ever did that come from anyone other than my own mind. And anytime that was ever actually even spoken by me or anybody realized that I was feeling that was very much like, hey, I don't know what your problem is, but this is not, you are not welcome here. You are just perfectly a veteran as a veteran as a veteran. And that was such a big thing for me. Just the welcoming. There was never any, oh, well, any trauma you've experienced is from being a firefighter. That's not the same. No, none of that was ever like a thing. It was all about the positive, the healing, the personal growth, the helping each other, the leaning on each other, the sharing with each other. That, I mean, I can't even put into words like how much that meant to me at the time when I was first exposed to that. I mean, that just because I'd been laid up in a room by myself for years and years at this point, you
Mhm.
know. Um, 'Cause it's funny how yeah, I'm not gonna go down that road, but yeah, so I was laid up for a long time by myself, and to just be completely welcomed and accepted for me without having to qualify anything, was just and
Yeah.
I've never encountered anything but that in the nonprofit sector. Just everybody has been so welcoming and so about the brotherhood. And that's honestly why you said, you're calling me back out. No, this is where I need to be, is out, you know, not just taking that in, but putting that back out into the world too. We all need our brothers.
Absolutely. Who you are is enough. There's no requirements you have to meet, you know? So
Yeah.
I really appreciate you saying that. I've spoken with many veterans who've had similar thoughts that, well, I didn't come back from Afghanistan or Iraq, having been blown up or shot at or, mass casualty situations. I didn't experience these things, so therefore I don't deserve. And it's like, no, like that's not a narrative we're trying to shape at all.
Right.
So, absolutely.
The
Yeah,
things
but
that,
I really do think that is a lot more prevalent in a lot of, peacetime veterans than is talked about.
Yeah. Like when just how you were saying, connecting with other people, and
Right.
and being able to use what you have. Like you're already enough, but you bring something new to the table in your songwriting and your music and in the melodies. You can really reach out, not just listen to someone's story, but really touch that person's life.
And that's the best gift of all, is because when you write a song, or at least especially when I started writing songs, I'm writing my own song, and I think this is very specific. Nobody's going to understand this. Nobody's going to get this. And what I've found is, like, no matter how specific you think your song is, that nobody else is going to feel it. That most of the time you're wrong. That they will going to go. That you'll find somebody that'll be like, "How did you know that happened to me?" And
Yeah,
it's like, no, I was just telling my own story, but that is such a huge, huge, just, I don't know what to call it, like just a reward, that a glow up or something, that I think that might be the term these days, is, just you just can't, that feeling is just so amazing, that because that is the true connection, right?
yeah,
That is the moment that you say, I have written something that is connected with somebody.
yeah,
They are connected to me now, and we are connected together. We have an understanding. We have a bond. No matter how insignificant it may look, we have a bond, and it's that's the whole point, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's the whole point of art, is for music, for human connection.
yeah.
And it doesn't get any higher than that.
It's like you start you start for yourself, and then you discover that you can help impact others. And through doing that, you really shape a community of people who are like-minded, who understand. And, I just, one of the things that we say constantly, um, but you shape that community, and you have a lot of people now who are stepping into the fold saying, you know what, it is possible to grow through what I go through, because it's not just me anymore. It's us. So super cool, man. Super
And
cool.
just to tie it back real quick to, and that is one thing that is so amazing about Soldier Songs and Voices, because as awesome as that connection is, what is even cooler is instead of writing the song, is helping them and watching them write the song, tell their
Yes.
own story. That is something that you just it again, it doesn't get any better than that. That is
Yeah.
just
Do they
because you
typically
can see the healing taking place. You can literally see it.
that is what I was wondering now. What's the finished product like once you're done? Is it something that you will sing for them, or is it something that they try and attempt to sing, or does it even get to that far? Because I know the songwriting process seems to take a little while. For some, it's like it takes, multiple visits to lyrics and then playing with the chords and all. But how does that work?
So it's really kind of up to the person. We want you to write your story, but it doesn't be like you said, not everybody plays guitar. We most of our efforts are guitar oriented, but also if all you want to do is hit on a cajon or, play the bagpipes or whatever, anything that just free form poetry, anything to get your story out is really what we're looking for. So
Folks, Jack Blaze is a multi-service veteran, also a retired firefighter and paramedic. He's a singer-songwriter who's based in Texas, and Jack credits music along with the benefits of therapy that comes from music for keeping him alive. www.jackblazemusic.com. Is that where we can find you?
that's correct. JackBlazeMusic.com.
All right, Jack. Thanks, man. Well, that was quite an interview. Wow. Talk about
Absolutely.
going deep on some of his experiences and wow. Yeah. Great
Yeah.
interview.
The people we talk to, they're real people with real emotions, and and sometimes we kind of get caught in those, and but that's kind of a symbol of our authenticity as human beings. Sometimes you got to live in those moments, and I can't wait to see more from Jack. I really can't. I love his music. I love his message. I love his perseverance. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see more from him.
So next time we meet up, U.S. Army Iraq War veteran, full-time firefighter himself in Denver. He's a family man and a singer-songwriter, and he's recently recorded a whole album in Memphis, Tennessee. It's Tim Megan Jr. So he'll be with us the next time. Plus, we have another special episode of the Roundtable, where heroes talk, because we've spoken with this here before. It's Kevin Gorin of Doc Goodbeard fame.
Doc Goodbeards.
Yeah, and it sounds to me that we may have ourselves a demonstration, perhaps.
Yeah,
Maybe you
we're
could
gonna we're
tell
gonna
us
shoot from
more.
the hip on this time. You know, every time that we've talked with Kevin, he's got a new product, and just being someone who has used his products before,
Mhm.
they're phenomenal. The scent is great. You get the clean feel. Your beard feels hydrated. Your skin doesn't itch. Very, very well made product.
It
Um,
sounds like you might be a customer.
I think we're gonna have to put on a demonstration here. Like I'm gonna run him through the ringer. Like, hey, let's walk through how to, you know, effectively wash and apply these products to the face. Um, and
Oh,
I'm gonna be
that's
Kevin's
awesome.
canvas. So, uh,
Okay. Well,
yeah,
I'll do the play-by-play. Well,
Yeah. It's gonna
all
be
right.
awesome. And at the end of it, I'll have a nice, clean, beautiful smelling, fresh, healthy beard.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. So, www.herostock.org is where you can find us, our podcasts, and we would love for you to kind of check us out for the rest of December for these episodes. Until then, I'm Tom Lamog. For Matthew Jones, you're at the Roundtable where heroes talk, and we'll see you next time.
Well, yesterday, when I was young, the taste of life was sweet as rain upon my tongue. I teased at life as if it were a foolish game, the way an evening breeze may tease a candle flame. 1,000 dreams I dreamed, splendid things I planned, I always built to last on weak and shifting sand. I lived by night, and I shunned the naked light of day. And only now I see how the years ran away. Yesterday, when I was young, so many happy songs were waiting to be sung. So many wild pleasures lay in store for me. So much pain my dazzled eyes refused to see. I ran so fast that time and youth at last ran out. I never stopped to think what life was all about. And every conversation that I can now recall concerns itself with me and nothing else at all. Well, yesterday the moon was blue, and every crazy day there was something new to do. I used my magic age as if it were a wand, and I never saw the waste and emptiness beyond. The game of love I played with arrogance and pride. Every flame I lit too quickly, it quickly died. And all my friends I made, somehow they slipped away. And only I am left on stage to end the play. There are so many songs in me that won't be sung. I feel the bitter taste of tears upon my tongue. The time's come for me to pay for yesterday.